where are you going to go when you die?
I'm a firm believer that I'm going to go to heaven.
On how do you get to heaven?
Well, I was born and raised Roman Catholic. I don't practice that anymore because I had an event that happened with a priest in my when I was younger. So I'm no longer involved with them. But I do still read the Bible and believe that's the Word of God. I just try to lead a very good life, and I think of the saying that's popular now. What would Jesus do? Try to do things that consider Him and pray daily. And try to lead a spiritually conscious life. Yeah.
That makes sense. Would you consider yourself to be a good person?
Absolutely.
How about in comparison to the Ten Commandments?
The Ten Commandments out of the Old Testament, I try to honor each and obey each one of those to the best of my ability.
How have you done so far? Meaning, like, have you ever told a lie?
Oh, yeah. I have, and I used to go to confession for those, but I don't do that anymore. But I ask God, through my own intercession between He and I, that He forgive me for those mistakes that I make. I think most people might tell lies and do, occasionally, but if you have a good, honest relationship, with the God of your understanding, I think that you're going to have a pretty good chance to go to heaven.
Have you ever stolen anything? The Eighth Commandment?
When I was much, much younger, like first, second grade, my mother made me take it back and give it back.
Have you ever taken the Lord's name in vain? The Third Commandment.
Yes, I have, and I didn't feel good about it, but I asked that I do that less often, and not make a habit out of doing that, of course. Yeah,
that's right. It's called blasphemy.
Blasphemy, yes,
very serious.
Of course.
So I'm going to stop on 3 of the 10. Now, Kelly, this might be hard to stomach, but looking at the 10 Commandments, by your own admission, you just said that you were a lying, blasphemous thief before the eyes of God.
Well, and I had stolen a thing. I'm not right now, so
yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't. Yeah,
that's true. But I mean, how many lies do you have to tell before you're a liar? How many things do you have to steal before you're a thief? Right? I've pretty much been forgiven for all those things, I think. So I'm in pretty good shape, I would believe. But what if, and it's a big if, what if God judged you by these 10 Commandments by such a perfect standard? Would you be guilty or innocent of breaking His laws?
Overall, I think, guilty of a few.
The lying, the stealing. Jesus said you even look at another woman to lust after her, you've committed adultery already with her in your heart.
Oh, wow.
He compares hate to murder, right? You hate somebody, you even call them a fool.
I don't like the word hate.
Yeah.
I prefer dislike.
Okay.
You see?
Well, that disgust, that extreme disgust, Jesus compares it to murder. Because it basically kind of reveals our heart. We've murdered them in our hearts when we get angry with them.
Well, I've murdered a lot of people in my old days then.
Would you go to heaven or hell based on the guilty verdict of breaking His laws, the murdering people in your heart, the lustful thoughts, the lying, the times that you've stolen or taken the Lord's name in vain?
I don't like the premise of your question, first of all. I don't think that's true, because God's an all-forgiving God.
Yeah.
So I would go to heaven, because your premise is a false premise, I believe. So.
Well, I'm using the premise.
I gotta conclude your interview now.
Okay. Can I ask you one more though?
Sure.
Does that work in a criminal court? Using the premise that I've done, you break the law and you're standing before God, or
depends on what kind of good lawyer you have.
Well, yeah, but the judge. But you understand, Kelly, a good and righteous judge is not going to let a crime go unpunished. And that's the same way with God.
It depends.
if he allowed sin into heaven, he'd be corrupt, not good, not a God that we'd want to serve.
It depends on what kind of penance you've done to pay for those sins. You see?
Yeah.
That's what I believe. And that's where I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
It's nice to
Thanks.
know
Thanks,
you,
Kelly.
Ryan.
Ryan.
Take
Yeah.
Zach.
Appreciate it,
Ryan.
bud.